As the tension inside the house grew heavier, it began to show itself in ways that could no longer be ignored, like cracks spreading slowly across a wall that once leaked strong from a distance. My son's behavior shifted from irritation to control, from control to open authority, and every decision in the house now carried his signature, spoken or unspoken, as if my presence required permission rather than respect. He started discussing finances loudly at the dining table, emphasizing cost and responsibilities, listing expenses if as if presenting evidence in a court where I was the accused, and each word was carefully chosen to remind me that I depend on him, that my comfort was a favor, not a right. His wife supported him with silence when silence helped, and agreement when agreement benefited her. And I began to understand how fear of losing comfort often disguises itself as loyalty. Relatives started visiting more often, offering advice that sounded like concern but felt like pressure, suggesting that I would adjust more, compromise more, remain quiet for the sake of peace, as if peace could only exist when one side disappeared completely. I listened to them all without arguing, because by then I had learned that people rarely stand for justice when convenience feels safer. Inside me, however, something solid was forming, a quiet strength born not from anger but from clarity. This understanding that dignity does not require permission and truth does not need approval. I noticed I noticed how my son spoke about the future, about renovations, about expansion, about plans that assume I would fade into the background, and with very assumptions his confidence grew, unaware that confidence built on false grounding eventually collapsed. One evening during a family gathering, he joked openly about old age and dependency, laughing as others joined in wildly, and though the words were framed as honor, the intentions was sharp enough to draw blood. And I feel the room watching me, waiting to see if I would shrink again. Instead, I smiled gently, not in defeat but in understanding, because I know something they did not, and that knowledge wrapped around me like armor. That night, alone in my room, I spoke softly to my late husband's photograph, not asking for courage but thanking him for foresight, for insisting on security, for believing that love should never come at the cost of self-respect. And I felt a strange peace settle over me. The next day, my son confronted me directly, questioning my recent changes, my confidence, my refusal to retreat, and for the first time, I met his eyes without lowering mine, telling him calmly that I was not asking for control, only respect. And the surprising on his face revealed how unfamiliar that idea had become to him. His response was sharp, reminding me again of his role, his effort, his sacrifice. And in the moment, I understood how easily children rewrite history when power shifts, forgetting the hands that once carried him. The house feels similar then, not because of space, but because of truth pressing against walls, but on assumptions, and every sound echoed louder, every silence heavier. I began preparing quietly, not with bitterness, with annotations, organizing documents, recalling conversation, and strengthening my resolve, knowing that the moment of revelation was approaching. I did not want to shame him, nor did I want to punish him. I want him to remember, to understood, to see me not as a burden but as a foundation. As days passed, his arrogance reached its peak, speaking openly about ownership, authority, and future decision that excluded me entirely. And with every word, he knowingly pushed himself closer to our truth that would challenges everything he believed. I watched him carefully, not as an enemy, but as a mother watching a child walk in confidently towards a lesson. Life consists on teaching, knowing that stopping him now would only delay the inevitable. The house itself seemed to hold its breath. Walls heavy with untold stories, floors bearing the weight of generation, and I knew that soon, very soon, the silence would break, not with shooting or anger, but with truth laid gently yet firmly on the table, a truth strong enough to restore balance, remind forgotten roots, and redefine what it truly means to belong.